I think it's impacted in a variety of ways. Number one, and most important, it's impacted our students. For us, it really started probably about a year and a half ago when the principals started reporting these issues of vaping. And one example we've talked about multiple times was when a student started vaping in the middle of the classroom. And that quickly led to the discussion of this is different than somebody smoking, because I don't think ever have we received a call that a student pulled a cigarette out in the middle of class. But it goes back to the marketing piece and kids not thinking this is the same. For a student to feel like they could pull out a juuling device in the middle of class and nothing's wrong with it, that first and foremost told us a year and a half ago we got an issue and this is different than anything we've ever dealt with. So fast forward to today, besides the health of students, probably the biggest thing we're dealing with and trying to get a handle on is the time and resources it's taking. We feel like we have principals that are as good or as experienced as anywhere in the nation. And when they come to you and say, I've never dealt with anything like this before, I don't know what to do. And the misnomer is, so a kid gets caught vaping. Seems to be pretty simple. They get sent to the office, they have discipline, but for each one of those situations, it takes hours and hours, because usually you're going to be talking to one student. They're going to mention 2 or 3 others. The principal then starts tracking that down. We have our own police force, so they get involved. So it's hard for people outside of schools to understand the time it takes. When you're dealing with multiple incidents a day, and each one can take 5 or 6 hours minimum, and you have high schools of 1,000 students, and you have a principal and 2 assistant principals, and they're supposed to be doing what they do on a daily basis, and then you throw this piece in. So you have the health concern, and then you have just the resources schools are putting toward this. And it's not just us, it's every school in the nation. First of all, I think the board has articulated this well. They saw this as an issue that affects social, mental, and physical wellness of our students. And right at the top of our strategic plan, we're just now redoing the 20 to 25 plan. So without even thinking of the vaping epidemic, the number one issue our community, parents, and students told us was not improving your ACT test score. It was how do you support students and staff, social, emotional, and mental wellness. Schools aren't going to speak up, then who's going to? Because again, as we've talked in the other questions, most groups don't know this is a problem. I think if you went out on the street and just interviewed a selection of adults and said, is there a vaping problem in schools? Half the people would know what we're talking about, and the other half probably wouldn't have the same level of knowledge or concern because they're not seeing it. But when you have principals that have done this for 30 plus years and they use the terms, I've never seen anything like this, that not only worries us, but really alerted the board that something else had to happen. I think if you ask a 16-year-old, would you smoke 20 cigarettes before you walk into school today? Most of them would say no. But definitely may inhale or aerosol or vape, whatever term you're going to use, a Juul pod before they come into school. And then you get into discussions about not only short-term health concerns, but long-term. Nobody knows what the long-term effects are. And then when visiting with students and they start talking about this as a way to deal with their anxiety, that's a problem. And may not seem like a problem when you're 16, but what is it going to be when you're 18 or you're 28 or you're 38 and you've been having the equivalent of 40 cigarettes a day? That's an issue every parent and every person in society should be willing to talk about and address. Link on our website that is current trends or events. And right now it's primarily focusing on vaping, and over a year we only had 2,000 hits on that. And there's really good information. We try to keep it updated every week or two with videos and research. And so again, that whole, how do you get the information out? Because the information's there, we're providing it, and we can send out a tweet or we can post it on our Facebook page. But how do you get students to understand it's harmful?